Salutations, humans. If knowledge is what you're seeking, you are now tuned in to the truth-speaking beacon. Amigo Fresh.
The car drove into a crowd of marching protesters who are marching against police brutality in Times Square on September 3rd. The crowd claimed the vehicle was an unmarked police car. The NYPD is denying that it was their car. But we've seen them do this before. A spokesperson for the NYPD said they investigated and discovered that it was not their vehicle. Well, liar liar, this is why their city is on fire. Because a video appears to show NYPD officers escorting pro-Trump counter-protesters into that same Ford Taurus moments before it plowed through a crowd of Black Lives Matter marchers. Both cars have the exact same license plate. So it turned out to be an unmarked police car, and the cops are just blatantly lying about stuff that's caught on video.
Protesters were peaceful in the streets they filled, but the cops drove through them like in Charlottesville. But denying that it was your car, well, that's overkill.
You know you ain't pay for this.
They tell America it's getting scarier. It's mass hysteria, policing in the area. Black Lives Matter, but not too often, so we proceed with caution before they put us in coffins. Man, we need a new promise from the government office. Stop the death that they causing, cause we still taking losses. Cause when they see us walking, they empty their cartridge, leaving bodies on the ground, and then they chalk it, then they tell us just to drop it. Man, patience ain't a virtue. They put us all on curfew, then they show up starting beef and not no tofu. It makes no sense, it's evident. They got a lot of power, but they not content. If you not convinced, camera phones will bring it to light. How they violating the rights and we pursuing life. Constitution, I think they wrote it wrong. Wait a second, is that a loaded gun? He holding one. You put up both your hands for it. If you got a message or a vision, maybe you should stand for it. Do police find it worth it? Do they know what they'll be working when they signing up for service? Do they serve a higher purpose? Do we really know for certain they won't shoot when they get nervous? Cause we ending up in hearses and these families really hurting.
You know you ain't pay for this.
Mr. Officer, officer, look at the way you drive. Mr. Officer, officer, it's looking like a crime. Mr. Officer, officer, why y'all always lying? Mr. Officer, officer, it's looking like a crime. Mr. Officer, officer, look at the way you drive. Mr. Officer, officer, it's looking like a crime. Mr. Officer, officer, why y'all always lying? Mr. Officer, officer, it's looking like a crime.
You know you ain't pay for
Mr. Officer, officer, look at the way you drive. Mr. Officer, officer, it's looking like a crime. Mr. Officer, officer, why y'all always lying? Mr. Officer, officer, to protect the blue line.